In northern China, winter bites hard, yet vegetables still bloom under glass and clay. No gas, no electricity, only sunlight, soil, and human ingenuity. These greenhouses hold warmth through science and tradition. How do they trap life in freezing air? Let's uncover China's silent engines of heat. In the frozen plains of northern China, winter turns the ground to stone. Yet in the middle of that white silence, patches of green thrive beneath arched roofs that glisten in sunlight. Step inside, and the air changes. It smells of soil and growth, warm enough for cucumbers, tomatoes, and leafy greens. Outside, the wind cuts like glass. Inside, spring hums quietly. This is the Riguang Wenqi, the Chinese solar greenhouse. The idea seems simple, almost too simple. A single slope greenhouse with a transparent roof facing south and a thick, high wall facing north. In this design lies the genius of adaptation. During the late 1970s and early 1980s, Chinese farmers in the northern provinces faced a crisis. Fuel was scarce, winters were brutal, and imported technology was too costly. They needed something that worked with nature instead of against it. Engineers studied how sunlight moves across the winter sky. They realized that when a greenhouse faces south, every weak ray of sun can be captured, magnified, and stored. The roof, made of clear plastic or glass, traps the light during the day. Inside, a dense north wall of brick, earth, or concrete absorbs the sun's heat like a sleeping giant. When night falls, the stored warmth radiates back into the air, keeping temperatures steady even as frost creeps outside. Farmers roll heavy quilts or straw mats over the roof at dusk to trap that heat, then remove them at dawn to let the sun in again. No gas or electricity, only sunlight, soil, and timing. Over the decades, this humble structure reshaped northern China's agriculture. Entire villages that once went hungry through the cold now harvest vegetables year-round. In Shandong, Hebei, and Inner Mongolia, rows of these greenhouses stretch across the land like mirrors of the sun. They produce lettuce in January, eggplants in February, and livelihoods that endure through the hardest winters. But warmth can be trapped in more ways than light. The next secret lies in the walls themselves, built not only to stand strong, but to hold the heat of the earth. At first glance, they look like ordinary walls, rough, brown, unremarkable, but inside them, warmth sleeps. When frost covers the ground outside, the air behind these walls stays calm and alive. This is Baowenqiang, the straw and mud insulation wall, one of the simplest yet most enduring ideas in China's fight against winter. It began not in factories or laboratories, but in villages. Farmers who built their homes from earth and straw noticed that the rooms stayed warm long after the fires died. The secret was the material itself. Straw holds air inside its hollow stems. Mud, when packed around it, seals that air like a blanket. Together, they form a wall that breathes slowly, holding the warmth of the day and releasing it only when the cold presses hardest. After the rise of solar greenhouses in the 1980s, this old building wisdom found a new purpose. Farmers lined the north side of their greenhouses with straw mud walls as thick as a man's arm. During the day, sunlight filtered through the plastic roof and struck the wall, warming it inch by inch. When night fell, that heat drifted back into the greenhouse, keeping the frost from taking the crops. Each autumn, families gathered to rebuild or patch these walls. They mixed soil with fresh straw, stomped the blend with their bare feet, and shaped it by hand. The smell of earth filled the air, soft and sweet. Children pressed patterns into the drying surface. Over time, the walls hardened, their color turning golden under the sun. Even today, many small farms across Shandong, Hebei, and Gansu still use this method. It costs almost nothing, and it lasts for years if cared for properly. Some modern builders coat the surface with lime to strengthen it, but the heart of the design remains the same: simple, renewable, and alive. These walls do more than hold up a greenhouse. They hold memory, skill, and warmth born from the land itself. Yet there is another keeper of heat waiting nearby, silent and still, filled not with straw or mud, but with water. The air outside is sharp and cold, but inside the greenhouse, a faint warmth lingers long after sunset. Along the rows of green plants stand dark barrels, silent and still. They look ordinary, yet within them lies a secret of endurance. These are thermal storage barrels, or shuitong, the unsung hearts of the Chinese solar greenhouse. When night falls, they become the quiet guardians of life. Each barrel is filled with water and painted black to drink in sunlight during the day. As the greenhouse basks in light, the water inside warms slowly, holding that energy deep within. When darkness returns, the barrels give it back in whispers of heat, keeping frost from touching the tender leaves nearby. This method was born from ingenuity and need. Farmers in northern China sought a way to carry warmth from day into night without gas, electricity, or complex machinery. They learned that water has a remarkable gift. It stores heat better than almost any other material available to them. Even a small rise in temperature during daylight can release enough energy to shield plants through freezing nights. Rows of these barrels line the back walls of greenhouses across Shandong, Hebei, and Gansu. During the day, the sunlight reflects off their dark surfaces like glassy mirrors of warmth. At night, they radiate that stored energy, creating a steady rhythm of temperature that plants can depend on. Farmers often place them where the morning sun strikes first, making sure the cycle continues seamlessly. Their secret lies in balance. Water absorbs heat gently and releases it just as slowly, preventing sudden drops in temperature that can shock young crops. This quiet system requires no maintenance, no refueling, and no sound. Only patience. To walk through these greenhouses after dusk is to feel life breathing in the dark. The air is calm, the plants shimmer faintly in the dim light, and the barrels stand like sentinels of warmth. In their stillness lies a kind of wisdom, proof that even the simplest elements can master the cold when guided by human understanding. But beneath these layers of innovation, another secret waits buried deep in the soil, a hidden warmth drawn straight from the earth itself. Beneath the frost-bitten soil of northern China lies a quiet invention that breathes warmth into the coldest nights. At first glance, the fields look empty after harvest, but below them are hidden chambers of life, underground heat storage pits, or dire chukangkeng. They are the Earth's own furnaces, built not from metal or fuel, but from patience and understanding of nature's rhythm. Generations ago, farmers faced an old enemy, long winters that starved both crops and hope. Firewood was scarce, and every spark had to be used wisely. So they turned their gaze downward and found a solution in the ground beneath their feet. The soil itself could store warmth if treated with care. They began by digging deep, creating wide pits lined with stones or bricks to hold and spread heat. During the day, these pits absorbed the sun's warmth or the excess heat from nearby stoves and compost heaps. Some even channeled smoke and air from cooking fires into tunnels leading underground, turning wasted energy into quiet preservation. At night, the trapped heat rose gently through the earth, protecting stored vegetables, grains, and seeds from freezing. These pits became the last line between hunger and hope. Farmers filled them with root crops, cabbages, and even water jars that stayed liquid when everything above had turned to ice. The balance was delicate, too shallow, and the heat escaped too quickly, too deep, and the air turned damp. Families learned to judge by instinct, by the scent of soil and the touch of stone. Over time, the practice evolved. Some greenhouses connected directly to these underground chambers, turning the ground beneath them into a slow, natural heater. When the sun returned, the earth reheated itself, ready for another night of protection. What made this system remarkable was its silence. No smoke rose, no fuel burned. Only the soft exchange between sun and soil, heat and time. To stand above these fields on a winter morning is to feel warmth that seems to come from nowhere, a ghost of yesterday's sun breathing up through the ground. And while this hidden heat guarded the roots of crops, another invention took warmth into the very heart of the home, where fire and family met under one shared roof. As night falls over the farmlands of Shandong, the greenhouses that shimmered under the winter sun begin to change. Farmers climb wooden ladders, their breath rising in pale clouds, and pull thick, quilted blankets across the curved roofs. The light disappears. In its place comes silence, and the slow, invisible work of preservation begins. Beneath those covers, the air stays alive. Cucumbers, tomatoes, and spinach continue to breathe gently in their beds of soil. This is the Baowen Bei. the heat-retaining blanket that keeps winter from winning. Its story began with necessity. In the early days of China's solar greenhouses, farmers faced a cruel truth. Sunlight could only do half the job. By dusk, the warmth that filled their fields bled quickly into the night. They needed something simple enough to make by hand, yet powerful enough to trap the sun's last breath. The answer came from the same materials that had sheltered their ancestors: straw, reed mats, and old cotton, even rice husks sewn between the layers of cloth. These makeshift blankets were rolled down at sunset and rolled up again at dawn, turning the daily rhythm of farming into a dance with the sun. The principle was simple. By day, the greenhouse walls and soil absorbed heat from sunlight. By night, the biowind sealed it inside, slowing the escape of warmth through the transparent roof. Some farmers used up to 3 layers, covering their roofs like armor against the wind. As technology advanced, these rustic quilts evolved into modern composites: outer waterproof film, middle insulation of straw or foam, and inner fabric that resisted condensation. Yet even with factory-made versions, the human touch remained. Farmers still repaired small tears by hand, still ran their fingers along the seams before the first frost arrived. At dawn, the blankets roll back with a heavy sigh, revealing rows of green unscathed by the cold. The roof glistens again under pale sunlight. To the untrained eye, it looks like routine. To those who live it, it is survival wrapped in fabric, a daily triumph of patience over frost. And while these blankets guard life from above, deep beneath the ground, another method keeps the warmth alive: an unseen furnace made not of fire, but of earth and decay. In the icy dawn of Hebei, a farmer steps into his greenhouse and places a hand on the back wall. It feels warm, almost alive. The sun has not yet risen, but yesterday's light still lingers inside the bricks. This is the Zhiqiang, the heat storage wall. It is the silent heart of China's winter farming. When northern farmers began building solar greenhouses decades ago, they faced a difficult truth. The sun could fill their fields with warmth during the day, but once darkness fell, the cold crept back quickly. They needed a way to hold the sun's energy long after sunset. The answer stood behind them, tall and solid. Builders used the oldest materials they knew: clay, brick, and packed earth. These walls were thick and heavy, built along the north side of each greenhouse, where they could soak up light by day and release it by night. As the sun crossed the sky, heat gathered in the surface and slowly traveled inward, like water seeping through stone. When the air outside turned to frost, the stored warmth flowed back into the greenhouse, keeping it mild and steady. The plants inside continued to grow, protected by the memory of sunlight pressed deep into the wall. Every village shaped its walls differently. Some used solid bricks for strength, others chose rammed earth mixed with straw for insulation. In colder areas, the surface was coated with mud plaster to seal in warmth or painted dark to drink in more sunlight. Each improvement came from observation and patience. The science is simple but profound. Dense materials hold heat longer. The thicker the wall, the slower it releases warmth. It is a rhythm that mirrors the human heartbeat, steady, enduring, and full of life. Farmers trust it without question because it works in silence. At dawn, when frost still covers the glass and air bites the skin, that warmth can be felt through the palm, pulsing softly from the stone. It is the earth's way of remembering light. But while these walls store the day's fire, another source of heat stirs nearby, created not by stone or sun, but by the living breath of compost itself. In the cold farmlands of Heilongjiang, a thin veil of steam rises from a mound of straw and manure. The air smells faintly sweet, earthy, and alive. Beneath that quiet pile, warmth is being born. This is Zhaoqi Duifei Kunwan, the biogas heat from composting waste, a lesson in turning decay into power. The idea began in the countryside, where nothing was wasted. Farmers noticed that piles of straw and animal waste gave off heat as they broke down. Even in deep winter, the core of a compost heap stayed warm enough to melt frost. Generations later, this simple observation grew into a system that heats homes and greenhouses without a single drop of fuel. The science is natural and steady. As microbes feed on organic matter, they release energy in the form of heat and methane gas. The warmth can be channeled through pipes buried in soil, keeping the roots of vegetables safe from frost. The gas, when collected, fuels stoves and lamps. What began as waste becomes a cycle of warmth and light. In some villages, farmers build compost pits right beside their greenhouses. They mix corn stalks, straw, and manure in thick layers, covering them with plastic film to trap the heat and gas. Small vents carry that warmth into the soil, while the gas moves to simple storage tanks. Every winter, the same process renews itself. Nothing is lost. Beyond its practicality, the method holds quiet beauty. It mirrors the rhythm of nature, where death feeds life and warmth grows from decay. In the stillness of a frozen morning, the mound steams like a living creature breathing against the cold. Farmers check the temperature by touch, knowing from experience when the compost is working. Modern engineers now study this ancient wisdom, combining it with new materials and systems to power entire greenhouses. It is low cost, renewable, and deeply human. A technology grown from patience and soil. To stand beside one of these steaming piles in midwinter is to feel the earth's pulse, slow but unstoppable. And while compost breathes warmth from below, another kind of protection guards the light above, where clear layers of film turn fragile sunlight into lasting strength. The morning sun cuts through the frost of Shandong, and across the flat fields, thousands of greenhouses shimmer like glass. Step closer, and you will see their secret is not the metal frame or the soil inside. It is the skin itself, made of 2 layers of clear plastic stretched tight against the cold. This is Shuangxing Tuming Mo, the double-layer transparent film that traps the sun and keeps winter at bay. The idea came from observation. Early farmers noticed that a single layer of film kept out the wind but lost too much heat at night. When temperatures dropped below freezing, the warmth slipped away as fast as it came. So they tried something new. They added another layer, leaving a thin cushion of air in between. That invisible space became a shield, slowing the escape of heat like a blanket made of sunlight. By day, the outer layer lets the sun pass through freely while the trapped air softens the chill of the wind. By night, both layers work together to hold in warmth gathered during daylight. The difference is dramatic. Inside, the air can stay more than 10 degrees warmer than the frost outside, enough to keep vegetables alive through the harshest northern winters. The materials have changed over the years. The first coverings were simple polyethylene sheets, easily torn by storms. Farmers had to replace them every season. Today, modern films are stronger and clearer, often treated to resist ultraviolet light and condensation. Tiny water droplets no longer blur the sunlight or freeze into ice crystals. Instead, the greenhouse remains bright and warm, even on the shortest days. What seems like a thin barrier is a masterpiece of balance. Too thick and sunlight fades. Too thin and warmth disappears. The success of a farm can depend on the tension of that film, the smoothness of its surface, and the care with which it is tied down before winter's first wind. To stand inside one of these greenhouses at dawn is to watch light turn into life. Frost glitters outside, but within, rows of lettuce glisten with dew. And while the film captures the sun above, another ally lies below, built from stone and brick, holding the heat that the day leaves behind. Morning frost blankets the plains of Hebei. The air stings with cold, yet inside the greenhouses, a gentle warmth drifts close to the soil. Along the walls and paths, bricks and stones lie in quiet order, darkened by days of sunlight. They are not decorations, they are keepers of warmth. This is Sichuan Sureti, the stone and brick heat absorber that helps northern China's greenhouses survive the long, punishing winter. Long ago, when farmers first built solar greenhouses, they noticed something curious. Stones left inside after a day of sunlight stayed warm well into the night. Touching them felt like touching the memory of the sun. The heat they released was enough to stop frost from forming on the leaves nearby. Over time, farmers began to fill their greenhouses with bricks and stones on purpose, arranging them where light was strongest. The practice spread quickly across northern provinces, carried by word and experience. During the day, the sun warms the surface of the stone. That heat slowly moves inward, storing energy deep inside. When night falls and the air cools, the warmth moves outward again, raising the temperature just enough to protect the plants. The exchange continues hour by hour, balancing heat and cold with quiet precision. Materials vary from farm to farm. Some use old red bricks, others collect river stones or concrete blocks. Many paint their surfaces black so they catch more sunlight. Farmers often arrange them along the north wall or around the base of delicate crops. Nothing is wasted. Every piece has a role in keeping the air steady and the soil alive. When dawn comes, frost clings to the outside of the roof, but inside, the air still holds the breath of yesterday's sun. The stones feel warm to the touch, proof that even the simplest materials can guard life through the hardest season. This method remains one of the quiet strengths of Chinese farming. It needs no machines, only observation, patience, and care. As the sun rises, the stones cool, and the cycle begins again. Outside, new barriers rise to face the wind and guard the warmth within. Outside, the northern wind sweeps across the plains of Hebei, howling through the fields and rattling old wooden fences. The air turns sharp, carrying dust and frost that scrape against the skin. Yet inside the greenhouses, it is still and calm. The warmth lingers. The plants stand steady. Around them rise walls of earth, curved and quiet, shaped by human hands. This is the Fangfeng Tuging, the wind barrier and earth berm, one of China's oldest and simplest shields against the cold. Centuries ago, farmers in the northern provinces learned that the wind was the true enemy of warmth. It could strip heat from a wall faster than fire could make it. The answer lay in the ground beneath their feet. By piling earth along the northern and western sides of their homes and greenhouses, they created barriers that slowed the wind and trapped precious warmth. The soil was often mixed with straw or clay, then packed tightly to hold its form through rain and snow. During the day, the berms absorbed sunlight. At night, they gave the heat back slowly, helping to balance the temperature between day and darkness. Their strength came from simplicity. No fuel, no metal, no machines. Just soil, sun, and patience. In larger villages, the idea grew. Farmers began planting trees and shrubs along the berms, their roots holding the soil in place, their leaves scattering the wind before it reached the crops. Over time, these barriers became part of the landscape itself. They stood not as walls of defense, but as quiet companions molded by each passing season. The beauty of these earthen walls lies in their silence. They ask for no maintenance, but reward care with warmth and calm. They turn open plains into small sanctuaries, where vegetables grow in winter and where life continues, even when the wind roars. Today, the same principle still shapes modern greenhouse design. Engineers now build with precision what farmers once built by feel, but the heart of the idea remains the same: protect life by listening to the land. Across China's frozen north, warmth takes many forms, some hidden in soil, others built into the home itself. The greenhouses may guard the crops, but what about the people? In the next story, we step inside the Chinese home to uncover how families survive winter without a single spark of electricity.